Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For those who don't know me, I'm Timmy Kemza James. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to make this dress. So I was inspired by it. So this is what the dress looks like. It features a slit and I added a pocket, which is totally optional. And if you're not yet subscribed to my channel, before we go forward, please subscribe to my channel and share my videos with your friends. Guys, turn on post notification to get notified whenever I have a new video up on the channel, and please do ensure to like my video if you find it helpful. So without further ado, let's get into the video. First, I folded my fabric in half and I just went ahead to mark a baseline. So I used the entire length of the Ankara to fold it in half, right? So I'm going to be marking the length of the dress, which was 61 inches including hemming allowance. So that's what I was doing over there. So the space I had was not enough, so I had to be moving it. Now on the other side, that's the other extreme of the Ankara, I marked my length as well, which was 61, and I just went ahead to rule that across, right? Then moving forward on this hem side, I just went ahead to measure the entire thing that I have, and I think I had about 23.5 or so, because the Ankara was by 47. So I just went ahead to mark my sleeve opening, seeing that the dress was a kimono style dress. I marked my sleeve opening, which was 12.5 inches, but when I'm done, I'm going to be having 11.5 because I'll be using half of an inch for joining allowance up and half down. So I just went ahead to draw a straight line across the sleeve opening on the body of the dress. Then I marked my bust measurement plus 4 inches for ease. So now that totally depends on you. I'm not saying mark 4 inches, but bear in mind that that 4 inches is going to be 16 inches because this fabric is folded in half, and that is just the front side of the dress, right? So by the time I did that, I marked from my shoulder as well to my hip point, which was 27. So you go ahead and use your own measurement, right? So on that 27 point, I went ahead to mark my hip measurement plus 4 inches, right? Then I added like 2 inches extra because I wanted to sort of make like a drape around the hip a little bit. It may not be that obvious, but that's just what I did. And I connected the line straight up going down to the hem, right? So you can tweak your style from this point. You can make the hem a little bit narrower or even narrower depending on what you want. So I made mine a little bit narrower, but it wasn't like a significant narrow effect though, but that was what I did. I made it a little bit narrower. So now moving forward, I went ahead to connect my line nicely, and I came back to the sleeve side, or would I say the armhole side. Since it's a kimono style dress, I just moved that, and I'm going to make a curve there. So you just freehand this, right? So because I'm cutting with freehand, so you can use your French curve or whatever to make that curve, but it wouldn't matter even if you just use your freehand. Then I'm coming ahead to mark 4 inches for my neck width and 1.5 for my neck depth, because this is going to be the back of the dress. Since the front has a V and a slit in front, this is going to be the back. Then I went ahead to cut out my fabric. Right now, after cutting that out, I just marked 8 inches. Seeing that I've already marked 4 inches, I added 4 inches extra for my shoulder. Then at the hem of the sleeve, I just went down by 1.5 inches, right? And I connected it to that 4 inches shoulder, just to sort of give the sleeve a little bit of, like, to make it relax a little bit more, right? So that was why I made that curve. So even if you don't make the curve, it will still turn out nice, but this will be nicer because it tapers down a little bit, right? So I just cut that out, and that was it about the back. So moving forward, I brought a fresh fabric, right? And I just folded the back aside, and I brought a fresh fabric, folded it in half. Now The open side is where I'm going to be using for the front side, that's the center front, because it has a slit. That's why I'm folding my fabric, the two salvages together, and I'm laying my back the back side that I cut, I'm laying it on top of the front, leaving that black side of the Ankara hem there. So that point is going to be my slit opening. Then I just went ahead to trace the remaining body out, including the neck, but this side is going to be for my slit. So because I have 1.5 on the neck already, I went ahead to place my chalk, my tape there, and continue to where I want my neck depth to be, which was 6.5 inches, and I just drafted a V neckline on it like so. Then I went ahead to cut. Now I'm cutting the slit side straight, that's that center front side. I'm cutting it straight before I go ahead and mark the V. That will enable me know where I'm going to start sewing my fabric from, right? So this is it about the front. So the difference from the front is just the neck and then this little 1 inch sewing allowance that we have in front, right? So I just went ahead now to cut a facing. Now that orange design you see in front of the dress, I just laid out this satin fabric. You can use any fabric of your choice really, but I just had satin at hand. That was why I used satin. Then I just cut out the neck. Now you can lay the main fabric on top of the satin, whichever way works for you to cut out the neck. That's totally fine. I was just looking for an easy way out. So by the time I'm done, I just cut out the satin, like followed it to make a facing or that parchment in front of the dress, and I went ahead to add interfacing and which was hairstay, and I neatly folded the sides inwards like this and pressed it down, you can see, and I added hairstay, right? So I just cleaned off that part of it by ironing it down and adding hemming gum. So I'm going to go ahead to sew. So that place that I said it was sewing allowance and the slit allowance, on the facing side I went ahead to sew it down. So the material was not enough, so I had to join a part of it. Now by the time I got to where my slit was to end, I just stopped the stitching there, and I'm doing the same thing on the main fabric, right? So I'm going to be sewing up until the point where I want my slit to start, and I will stop, then I will make a notch there, right? Now I'll just notch the allowances out. Now on my main fabric I'm sewing on the wrong side, right side facing each other, and I sewed on the wrong side, but on the facing I sewed on the right side. Now I'm going to go ahead and sew the neckline of the facing. Right side of the facing will be on the wrong side. Then I'll make notches to enable it turn over nicely, and I'm going to sew hemming gum on it so that by the time I press it sits nicely. I sewed the neck of the back as well, the facing of the back neckline as well, trimmed off the excesses and made notches. Then I'm coming to press it down. Now the neck will sit nicely because I added hemming gum, remember, on the neck. So I just went ahead to iron the neckline nicely, laid out my fabric. I apologize for my ironing sheet that is down. It looks a little bit dirty, but it does the work. So I'm just going ahead to add hemming gum on the main, on these bodies, right? That's the facing that I'm adding on the front, and I'm going ahead to press that. So I'll just gently go ahead and do all of that before I'll now go ahead and sew that down. You can actually leave it with the hemming gum, but after a few wash the hemming gum may not be active, so that's why I'm going ahead to sew on top of it nicely off camera, right? So by the time I lay my fabric and I'm ironing nicely, when I get to where that slit is, I'm going to show you how to tackle that place, how to clean your slits nicely. That's using the facing and the main fabric as well, right? Guys, this, I wish this process was this fast. It's not that fast, but you do have to be patient. So I just folded the sleeve side, all the sewing allowances, back to the right side of the main fabric like so, and I'm ironing it down. So by the time I'm done ironing, I'm going to grab the slit side of the satin material, or the facing, whatever you want to call it. So I'll grab that place where I made notches on both the wrongs, or both the main fabric and the satin, and I'm going to sew it down. Now the raw seam is going to be on the right side of the fabric, so that's what I want you to understand. So I'm going to match right side of the satin to the wrong side of the fabric, so that the seam allowances will be on the right side of the fabric. So that's what I'm going ahead to sew now. Make sure your seams are really straight. Then at the hem, you back stitch. I flipped over and did the same thing on the other side of the slit. So when you see the finished result, you would understand what I mean by that. So just hold on to that. So I back stitch, and then this is what it looks like. So all my this satin fabric is going to cover the raw edges. That's why I brought it to the right side, right? So I went ahead to just sort of stitched it the top off camera, and then I'm going ahead to join the shoulder of the dress. That's the back and the front side of the dress. So whichever way you would join the shoulder of your dress, that's the same method you use here. So I just went ahead to do the shoulder, and I flipped it over and I did the other shoulder by matching right side of the front and right side of the back together. Then I flipped one of the facings to the other side so that it sandwiched the beginning point, or the facing side, and I went ahead to just sort of finish joining that, right? So by the time I'm done, I'm going to be finishing off the sleeves, right? But for the sleeve, this is what it looks like. You can see I've not added hemming gum to that facing on the back yet. I'll do that later. So for the sleeve, I'm using this strip of fabric that I cut. It's just a rectangular fabric, depending on how you want it to be, and I folded it in half and I gave it a good press. So I'm going to grab the sleeve, one of the sleeve. So on the wrong side, I'll place the right side of the fabric, which is going to be serving as my bias here. I will just place it on the wrong side of the sleeve, right? So I would sew. The reason is because I want to turn the sleeve to the, like, I want to have that sort of turning that strip to the right side. So I hope you understand. That's what I did. So now I'm going to flip it to the right side so it covers the raw sewing allowance that was there, and it also gives sort of a nice look. Then I folded it in half like so, with it facing front. Then on the wrong side, I'm going to close off the dress. So I just folded the sleeve in half like this on the wrong side, so the both right sides are inside at this point. So using whatever sewing allowance you wish, I'm going to go ahead and close off the body of the dress. Now I added pockets to this dress off camera, so if you want pockets you can add. If you don't want, you can leave it there. And I have a video on how to make pockets. I'll be linking it up here and on the card, and also on the description box. So I did the same thing to the other side of the dress as well. So guys, if at this point you're not yet subscribed to my channel, I don't know what you're looking for or what you're waiting for, guys. But if you're not yet subscribed to my channel at this point, you are wrong, guys. Please subscribe to my channel, right? So I just went ahead to finish off the dress. I did that slowly this time around so that you can see I did not like add speed to that point, so you could understand what I meant by I wanted to turn over the dress. So after this process, I just went ahead to hem the dress, and I gave it a nice press. Also added hemming gum on the neckline, and this is the finished look, guys. So this is what the dress looks like at this point after hemming and ironing the sleeve and the hem as well. You can see the slit over there. Then I added a little bit of embellishment. So I wanted the embellishment to go all the way down to the slit, but it wasn't enough. So if you're doing yours, do ensure to take it all the way down. You can even make two lines of it if you have, but that was all I had. So this is it about our dress. If you find this video helpful, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel once more. Let me remind you. So, and you can see our pocket is giving what a pocket should give. This dress turned out really beautiful, guys, and I'm impressed. This gold chain accessories is beautiful, guys. Just look at that. That's so beautiful. So please give me a thumbs up again, and see you in my next tutorial, guys. Bye.